Hello, this is First Name, Last Name from Void Signal, and you're listening to Podcast with Host.
Hello! So here's how it works. In order to feature music on the episodes, I can't run ads. So if you could, I'd like you to kindly consider visiting shirtclown.com and taking a look at the officially licensed Void Signal merchandise that's there, or visiting voidsignal.net, where you can leave me a tip as well as find previous episodes and playlists and a picture of me. I'll put it up right after I finish recording this, I guess, and you can see my smiling face. Anyway, hope you're good, and let's get on with the shit. We'll talk again soon. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, I got you.
Awesome. Took me a second to figure this out because I've never used this app before.
Oh yeah, no worries, man. It takes everybody just a minute to kind of get the hang of it, but it's pretty intuitive. So, how's it going?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm not bad, man. I'm just hanging out, been putting together a lot of big episodes lately, and things are good. Excited for the future, but yeah, things are good.
Dude, that's awesome.
But aside from that, thank you so much for taking the time to make this happen. I know this has kind of been in the making for a little bit, but yeah, it's good to talk to you, man. It's been a while since I saw you, but you guys are really killing it from the look of it, and heading back out on tour again pretty soon. Yeah.
Yeah, we have some festivals for the summer in Europe. So it's our first time like playing like HellFest. I'm not sure if you're familiar with those festivals, but they're pretty much like the big like metal festivals in Europe.
Sure.
So yeah, we got pretty stoked on that we got added on to some of these festivals. So we are trying to base a tour based off, going out there. So it's not just playing one festival and then having like a week off and then, but yeah, stoked, man. Kind of try to try to tap into that world more. Especially for exposures purposes too, just playing in front of people that most likely don't even know who the hell you are, but there's, shit ton of people out there. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's fucking awesome. That's really cool. You guys deserve it. Plus, it's festivals are a good opportunity to get yourself in front of people who might not normally get a chance to hear you.
Yeah, I mean, the one in France, which is Hellfest, I know Carpenter Brute's playing one of the days. It's like 4 days. It's like a Coachella for, I guess, in France, but mainly metal. But yeah, Brute's on one of the days. So yeah, hopefully it goes smooth. But definitely excited to play it.
And it's been a minute since you guys have been to Europe, right? Or no?
No, we were just there like a few months
Oh,
ago.
okay.
Well, yeah, last year it was 2022, but a few months ago.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. And yeah, I haven't seen you guys live since you added the live drummer. So I was really excited and curious to see that. How's that been as a fit?
Yeah, so we first this is right before COVID and the pandemic. We were in Europe and
Right.
that was the first tour with John, our live drummer. And actually just I mean it's like hard to explain, but like me and Justin come from being in bands, punk bands, metal bands. So like just having that drummer on stage just is like a game changer for us because that's what we grew up, playing, like just with band members. So yeah, I mean, and also he's just a flawless drummer, obviously too. So like just having a good drummer who's keeping up with like comparison to like a digital backing track beat, you know what I mean? And he could keep up with that. It's yeah, just the dynamic on stage. It's just so much better. Feels more like a band. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that, like, I think the power of a live drummer is that it's violence. It's like a person in the room who's banging on a thing, and like, it gets people excited. It adds some kinetic energy to the whole thing.
Yeah, and then he plays super hard. So when we're on stage, I mean, we have in-ears, but like I can feel his
Mm,
drums, you know what I mean? And immediately just kind of just gives me a little boost on stage, like, okay, I'm feeling this. So yeah, it's been great, man.
that's awesome. Yeah, I my first time seeing you guys was at Slim's in San Francisco, like years and years ago, with Daniel Deluxe,
Dude,
and
that
it
place
was such
closed
a good.
down.
Oh, really?
After the pandemic, they shut down, dude.
Oh, that's a bummer. I liked that place. I mean, the sound was a little whatever, but the venue was really cool.
Yeah, I heard about that as soon as
Mm,
things started kind of opening back up.
gotcha.
I heard
Okay.
that Slim shut down. Yeah.
Well, it's good to hear that it's been such a success having him come out on the road with you guys. Are you thinking about incorporating him into some studio recordings as well?
No, we are actually kind of
Sure.
experimenting with that idea of like having him on some of the songs. Like I guess more so for like something that's a bit heavier, having him playing some stuff, and then obviously if it's more like a electronic track, then we'll use like samples and stuff. But yeah, definitely.
I also saw that you guys were made a track with Cody and John Carpenter. I mean, that's pretty fucking legit. How did that come about?
Yeah, so the cool story behind that is so obviously Cody's a friend, so we hit him up because there's like a specific keyboard part that we're like, man, Cody would make this part way more interesting because he's a great player first. And second, there's just stuff that even if we were to like digitally write it in, it's just like there's no human feel as what Cody can do. So we hit up Cody, and of course he was like, "Yeah, just send me the song." And then like, he like literally had something back to us within like 30 minutes. So then from there, like we're like, "Hey, like, well, while we have you, like, what are the chances of getting your dad to speak on like the intro of a track or whatever?" And he's like, "Oh, we're really busy because I think they were scoring the Halloween film at the time, so they're super busy." And he's like, "Yeah, he just did something for another band, and he, it's not cheap, blah blah blah," which we were expecting. So we're like, "Okay, well, here's something that we kind of typed out. Just let us know if he's down, and then we'll go from there, and then figure it out." And a few days later, he just sent us an email like, "Hey, my dad did it, and he did it for free. So here's 2 audio tracks. Let us know if you need anything else." And we're just like, "Dude, what?"
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty fucking cool. I mean, like, so that was the first like big thing that happened since I last spoke to you. The other thing was having a track on the Stranger Things soundtrack. Like, that's pretty fucking wild. Like, how did that happen?
yeah, and then that again, our manager just said, "Hey, I need the stems for there's a storm coming, so send me the stems." And we're like, "Well, what is it for?" It's like, "It's for a show." We're like, "Okay." We're like, "What show?" He's like, "It's for the next season for Stranger Things." And we're like, "What?"
Yeah, oh, that dumb show. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah, yeah. So we sent them all the stems and everything, and yeah, that was just, I think, again, just like something just so random that just happened to
Yeah,
happen. We're just like, "Whoa, like, how did that happen?"
that's awesome. And it's awesome that you're playing Hellfest. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah, like I said, like I think the day that we're playing, it's like Pantera, Slipknot. I mean, like just the list goes on. So
Yeah, for sure.
for us, it's like, yeah, we're playing it, but just obviously more stoked to like see these bands too.
Yeah, it's awesome to be able to get to see everybody, and especially that's the thing I like about
Yeah.
festivals is you get like a sample of so many things. Well, what's on the horizon for you next?
Uh, yeah, just more touring. Like I said, the summer we have stuff coming up, and then other tours in the States that we can't obviously announce or talk about, but stuff happening there too. And then we're also working on new music, possibly aiming for sometime mid year, maybe the fall. So yeah, just keeping busy and yeah, just enjoying what while it lasts.
Well, it's awesome to see how far you guys have come just in the few short years that I've been listening to your music, and it's all very well deserved, and I'm very happy for you guys. I was
Thank you, man. That
curious,
means a lot. Thank you.
is the path forward just more Dance with the Dead because it's like paying the bills, or have you entertained like doing side project or solo stuff, or what does that look like?
I mean, yeah, this obviously for Justin and I, this is our baby, and this is our full time thing. But I mean, a really good friend of mine is also the guitar player. He's the guitar player for the band Atreyu. He's one of my best friends, so him and I always do stuff together just for fun. I mean, nothing's really come up where for me to put a hold on Dance of the Dead and go do something else. I'm sure same with Justin is every year there's something lined up so far in advance that it's like does take up a lot of our time. But I'm sure when we have like some downtime, and which I'm sure, sooner or later, the both of us are gonna need a break at some point. Um, so yeah, it'll be nice to kind of tap into something a bit different, whether it's like a score, something more of a score, or just a complete different project, different style of music, you know? Justin and I don't know if a lot of people don't know this, but Justin and I actually have been friends since like I was like a freshman in high school. So we go back like 20 plus years. Like we're friends from childhood, like growing up in Irvine, California, and kind of, you know, small neighborhood. But like if someone's in a band, you know of that band in your town, you know what I mean? So, you know, typical story. So yeah, him and I have been friends for a long time. He's always been a drummer, and I'll always play guitar, but we've never actually played in bands together until like fast forward like 2011, 2012, around that time. Uh, he was a little more experienced with using Logic for recording music. So I was kind of picking his brain and sending him some electronic stuff I was writing because at the time I was really getting into like Daft Punk and Justice. So I was sending him a couple like, you know, demos and stuff and picking his brain. And he's like, oh, you know, like these are great, but your production's terrible. So maybe I can help you with the production. So he was like remixing stuff that I did, and eventually I think he was just like, dude, like why don't we do this together? Because he also just loved like electronic music. So he's like, why don't we just do this together and like make it like just have fun? So yeah, I mean, we teamed up, never really thinking or taking it seriously, rather than just like let's have fun, have some drinks, and make some beats, you know. And that led to in when Out of Body came out in 2013, again, which was just for fun. Like there was no desire to like make money off this or whatever. You know, we're just like, let's just make music, put it out there, and whatever. You know.
Yeah.
And then this thing happened where I don't know if you remember the blogger Perez Hilton.
Yeah, vaguely, sure.
So he was like a big like Hollywood dude, and then all these people started tagging us saying Lady Gaga like stole our song "The Deep." So we're like, what the fuck is this? Like, why would Lady Gaga even know who the fuck we are?
Right.
Like, something doesn't make sense. And he did an article about it where he had our version of "The Deep" and her song, which was with R. Kelly, I think. I forget the song name, but I mean, from the first 15, 20 seconds, same key, same BPM, like it was like literally identical. But ours has been out way before hers came out. So,
right.
You know, people were saying like, oh, she stole the song from Dance of the Dead, blah, blah, blah. And to the point where her producer was like tweeting us like, hey, check out your stuff. Like, you guys are sick. Keep up the good work. Like, they're all like trying to avoid a lawsuit or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
But being on his little thing, his little blog, kind of got her name out there in the pop world, at least, like, you know, because her fans were like, who the fuck is Dance of the Dead? You know what I mean?
Right.
But it kind of gave us a little boost, I guess, free PR. So that's when we were like, hey, like maybe like we should take this a bit more serious and like really, you know, like try to pursue this. So exactly what we did. And yeah, and here we are.
Darkness devours the sky. As we near the last hour, we wait as they rise for the march of the dead.
Yeah. So fun little happenstance of how things can shake out. I mean, it's quite the journey to come so far. I mean, it seems like you guys have been friends a long time. Like the chemistry is really there out for your live performances and stuff. So that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, literally, I've literally known that dude for 20 plus years.
Yeah. I mean, that has to come with you must feel like pretty comfortable around each other. Does that make working in the studio much easier?
Yeah, I mean, early days when because we both grew up in California, obviously in Orange County, but he ended up moving out to Washington, um, about half an hour away from Portland. So it's technically like borderline Portland, Washington.
Right.
But he ended up moving out there a couple years ago. But even before he moved, like because of where technology's at, we can just email each other like the work sessions and just go back and forth that way rather than having to be in one space together.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, it obviously with our history, like, yeah, we're like brothers. Of course, we bicker, all that stuff happens. We're only human,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
I feel like because of the amount of touring that we did together, like you really learn a lot on the road about who you are and just a lot of things. You just really learn a lot of things on the road. You know what I mean? Because you're literally out of your comfort zone, and these are the people you're gonna see every single day for a month to a month and a half. So you learn a lot. And honestly, like there's been a couple arguments here and there, but like never once have we like gotten a full-blown argument or like fights or anything like that, just because we literally made a pact like, hey, like let's not be that typical band where we argue about stupid shit and blah blah blah. Let's just make this fun and have a smooth ride, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, ever since we've had this conversation and kind of preparing our mindset for how life is out there on the road, like it's for the most part, of course, like I said, there's always ups and downs. There are things that we just cannot control. It's beyond, what we can do. But for the most part, yeah, like we've never honestly got it like in a serious fight or anything like that, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's a relief, and you're absolutely right about like the touring thing, because I mean I've never been on a tour, but I know people who have. And I mean, it's like you're living out of a backpack or a suitcase, and you're like, not only are you seeing the same people all day, every day, you're traveling with them, and like travel is stressful, like getting through airports and making sure you have all your shit, and like it's a lot. So it's understandable that creates like, causes some sandpaper between people, like even the best of friends or couples or whatever you want to say, like that's going to happen. So
yeah, and like we have like a little saying that we always say, like even if one of us is complaining like, oh man, tomorrow's gonna suck or whatever, it's such a long duration from the next venue to the other venue, and when one of us starts kind of complaining, we'll always kind of say like, hey, we can always be working a desk job somewhere,
right?
So we should be pretty grateful that we get to even do this. So yeah, we just always kind of put each other in check, like, hey, like things could be a lot worse, dude.
Yeah, for sure. Could be a lot worse. That's absolutely true. Have you the response when you guys traveled abroad in Europe? Pretty good turnout for those shows, I assume. It looked like it from the tour video that I saw, but
yeah, I mean, we've been over there. At this point, I'm guessing it's like our 6th or 7th time touring in Europe.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, it's obviously the whole goal is, like you want to do better each year. Each time you go back, you want to bring more production or whatever it is. You want to up your game. So like the people aren't always seeing the same show,
Sure.
So the last run we did, we just went full out live production, the whole 9 yards. And yeah, it's just one of those things that we were late to it, but once you do it, it's like something that you can't go back undoing, because you've already set the bar of like, okay, now we have production. So if next time we don't, we're gonna feel naked up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, I think the turnout was great. And plus, I think people were like, didn't know what to expect. And when we did the run with Magic Sword last year in the States, we had the same live production. So, obviously fans in Europe saw clips, stuff that we posted on our socials or whatever, but we brought the same thing over there, and yeah, it went awesome.
That's awesome. I mean, I didn't realize that it had been so many times, but I mean, like 6 trips over there is kind of a lot. But I mean, it does seem like your production has stepped up quite a bit from, playing Slims years ago. But the other thing that I wanted to ask you about was that, I'm sorry, my mind is blanking for a second. Oh, so your name is sort of, predominantly associated with like the synth wave kind of a scene. Is that what the future holds for the band? Like more of your sort of particular brand of Dance with the Dead metal synthwave kind of stuff, or do you guys intend to branch out? I mean, like, given your genre of music and I don't mean this to be insulting or anything, but just sort of given the style of music that you guys are making, I wonder how many times you can not tread the same ground. That sounds shitty, but like, you know what I mean? Like you're operating in kind of the same space and kind of doing the same thing. Like, is that something that you're worried about, or do you still find ideas are pretty fresh?
Yeah, I mean, I completely understand what you're saying. Yeah, like considering that we don't have a vocalist, there's only so much we could do, I guess,
Right.
instrumentally until it's like, oh, I feel like they've already done that before, or, you know,
Sure.
our I guess our limit kind of gets capped when you don't have a vocalist. But yeah, I mean, even with like Driven to Madness, of course, there's like the more metal, the more metal tracks, and there's some dance tracks on there and stuff, but we're also just kind of open-minded to anything. If it sounds good and it sounds like us, then whether it sounds like pop, 80s, metal, I mean, we're down as long as it sounds like us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I mean, to answer your question, yeah, we're always just kind of trying different things. And again, like, yeah, I mean, we haven't hit like that creative wall where we're like, dude, I have nothing. We haven't hit that yet, and it's been 10 plus years now. So yeah, I mean, so far we're just, like I said, just until it stops working, we're gonna keep going.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense. That's all you really can do. But yeah, I'm glad you like understood, because I don't mean to be like shitty or insulting, but I mean, that is a good point of like, I mean, you guys don't have a vocalist. Is that something you've considered kind of experimenting with? I mean, you've done like maybe a track or two in the past, maybe?
We are, again, I can't say much, but
Sure.
there is going to be music with a lot of vocalists.
Okay, cool. That's exciting. And obviously you can't say anything about it, but well, one of the something else I wanted to kind of address, just not Dance with the Dead related. It is Dance with the Dead related. I don't know why I said that. It's been a long day. I apologize. But the Hex video was so great. But I mean, I know that animation is like pretty expensive, but it turned out so good. You guys have done 2 videos now, for Sledge and for Hex. Loved both of them. The Sledge video was such a blast to watch. But more music videos in the future, or do you feel that it's like maybe?
No, there's more coming.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
gotcha. And for the production on Sledge, like, are you hoping to do more like a little mini horror movie kind of things like that?
yeah, absolutely. So the director, his name is DJ Bronner. He's a very, very good friend of Justin and I. We all kind of grew up together.
Gotcha.
So he has his own, film company out in LA. And when we got ready to do the video, of course, we're going to hit him up first because he's also a friend. So as soon as we kind of told him, the single, which was Sledge, and kind of what we had in mind, we wanted something kind of based off the cover of the album with like the driver,
Right.
which is what we call him, just the driver. And he wrote a couple scripts and sent it over to us to kind of go over. And like, I think by the second one, after a couple revisions, like it was like, dude, like, I mean, this sounds thick on paper, but like we have to kind of see this. And it's a gamble because, you're spending a lot of money in a video, and like, yeah, what's written down sounds awesome, but like, can it translate to real life?
Right.
And still be awesome. So of course we were nervous, like he's never really done like a horror video himself either. So we're just like,
Sure.
like, do you have a company or know anyone that can do latex for, special makeup and all this stuff? And he was just like, oh, I'll take care of it. Just don't worry about it. Just approve the script. So we're like, fuck it. Yeah, let's go for it. So we approved it and literally went on set and just like jaw dropped, like, holy shit, like this is the real deal.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So yeah, so that being like our first real official video, that that was kind of like the point of where we're like, yeah, we got to make more videos
Yeah.
like this.
I agree. Because it was like, I was like, oh, wow, a Dance with the Dead music video. Cool. And then it was exactly what I expected it to be in like a good way. Like it was like, oh, of course this is what it would be. And it looks great. So, and yeah, I would. There's always that element of, letting someone else in on kind of your vision and having, I mean, people can bring you portfolios and be like, hey, here's the back catalog of things I've done. But that doesn't necessarily translate into, well, what are you going to do with my thing?
Exactly.
So there must have been a lot of trepidation moving into that. But I mean, given that you knew him growing up, I mean, that has to have helped smooth it over. And it paid off for sure.
Yeah. It's just like, we know he's a great director. We know the music videos that he produces are great.
Mm-hmm.
But we had this certain thing in mind where it was like, we want this creep show, like kind of B horror movie, like not taken too seriously, but not too dark, but it is dark. And like, do you understand what we're saying? Like, do you know these movies and shows? And, so he was like, no, I get it. Da, da, da. Like, I know your band. I know what you guys are trying to go for. And just trust me on this. And we're like, okay. So like you said, yeah, it paid off.
Well, I don't want to keep you too long. We've already been talking 30 minutes. I'm trying to keep these like short and sweet. But I did, the other thing I wanted to ask you about is just what are some things that you've been enjoying lately, like that you're excited about when you get out of bed? Movies, TV, music, like what's really like on your plate these days that you're just like jazzed about?
Well, I guess the people who do know me, they know I'm a huge video game nerd.
Mm-hmm. What are you
So,
playing lately?
I mean, all the PC guys give me shit because PC guys are PC guys, but I'm all about PS5.
Okay.
Or just Sony in general. But
Sure.
I literally go through as soon as I'm done with the game, I already have the next one like ready.
Oh wow.
Like there isn't a time where I just go have like a month off with no games, unless there's like nothing literally out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I got back from Europe a couple months ago and then played the remake of Last of Us, which was amazing.
I'm waiting for
I
that
just,
to come out on. It comes out on PC like in a couple months, I think, and that's gonna be
I
like,
mean,
my first experience with it. I'm pretty excited.
just the graphics alone,
Mm-hmm.
like it's fucking amazing.
Okay.
Obviously everyone knows the game story is it's great, but like
Right.
seeing it, just in the next gen like format, it was amazing.
Right. Did you play it when it first came out as well?
Yes, I got it, and then I had to head out for tour. So because
Okay.
before I left on tour, I just beat the Horizon, the one that just came out, the second one. But yeah, I just beat Dead Space, the remake, which was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was a huge Dead Space fan. I'm playing Hogwarts right now, which I have to say is fucking amazing. Like
Really? Wow. All right.
I did not think that I was going to be this attached to this game, but honestly, I have to say, like, it's one of the best games I've played in the like in a year.
Wow. Okay. All right. That's cool.
But I tried playing the I don't know if you heard of the game Callisto Protocol.
I do. Yeah. I'm a big PC gamer, so I'm with you. Yeah.
So I played that. Again, the graphics are amazing, but I think that was about it. The story was pretty whack.
Yeah.
It's
It seemed a little
kind of a poor version of Dead Space, I guess.
Sure. Yeah. It seemed a little limp from the outside.
But yeah, I literally wake up. The first thing I do is pretty much game for about 2 hours,
Gotcha.
and then I jump onto working on music. So yeah, I mean, pretty much when I get home from tour, I take about a week or two off and just do nothing, and then catch up on games. Obviously, hang out with my girlfriend, and
Right.
and then as soon as we have whatever's on the agenda, whether it's new music or whatever it is, then yeah, I have to hop on the computer and start creating. But yeah, I say for the most part, besides music, like I just love playing video games.
For sure. No, and I feel that. I'm really excited actually I'm glad you mentioned The Last of Us, because I'm really excited to play the game for the first time. Because I mean, like, long gone are the days of like me buying a console to play like one thing. So it was like when they announced, after the show took off and it was announced that like, Last of Us was going to be coming to PC, which Sony has been killing it with like these ports. Like I've been meaning to pick up God of War, and I played Spider-Man, and that was pretty fucking great. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited that like, because exclusives are bad. Like they just are. Like everybody should be able to play everything. I don't know. But
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that.
yeah, but I'm really excited to play The Last of Us, because the show has like, it's something I've been aware of like, oh, that is really great. If I had a PlayStation, I'd play it in a heartbeat. But and now that I've been watching the show, I'm much more interested now. So I'm very excited to check that out when it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, I highly recommend it. Like, I literally mean this when I say this. Like, it's the game. I mean, it was already classified as a masterpiece when it came out in
Yes.
like 2013. So, I mean, the game is gonna go down in history as one of the greats. But playing it with the new gen, graphics, it was just like an icing on the cake. Just like, dude.
Yeah, awesome. I'm excited to check it out, and the show has been so good. The show has been
Oh,
great.
so good, so good.
Yeah. I mean, just like absolutely riveting, like from start to finish. I've been really enjoying my time with it. I mean, Pedro Pascal is sort of wonderful in everything that I've seen him in, but yeah, the show has really endeared itself to me pretty quickly in a way that like something like The Walking Dead kind of never really did. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't played the game. You haven't played the game yet, but there are every now and then scenes where it's literally frame by frame of the actual game.
Okay.
And like me having played them many times, it's like, holy shit, that's literally exactly like the angle and the view of the game.
Right.
Like they just nailed it.
That's awesome. I mean, it's awesome to hear that too, because I mean, like you might be the first person I've talked to about it who was familiar with the games prior to the show, and so I've been curious to kind of hear somebody's like take on like the show versus the game experience, because I mean, my experience is only the show, and I've been recommending it to people who aren't necessarily gamers. So I'm glad that I asked you about it, because I was kind of curious to hear that perspective.
Yeah, there's a lot of like, because I mean Neil, the director of the game, is also part of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So he's pretty much kind of, I think the guy's, I forget the guy's name. I think it's Craig something, but he's the actual director for HBO show. But Neil from Naughty Dog and Last of Us, he's also part of the show too. So he's pretty much the brains behind like, no, that's not how it went down. It's like this.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of arranging everything, and then the other guy's kind of bringing it to life. You know what I mean? But I have to say, probably the best adaptation from a game to movie or TV, like, because Resident Evil failed pretty bad going into films from the game. Like just no justice there at all. So
not at all.
Yeah. So they really nailed it on this one, and I think the diehard fans that are obviously watching the show, they all pretty much knew it on episode 1. Like, oh yeah, this is like dead on.
Awesome. I'm excited to see more of it, and I'm excited to play the game when it comes out. But I mean, are you saying that the Super Mario Brothers movie is not a good representation of the game? You're saying that's not a good transit?
Isn't that with Chris? Isn't it Chris Pratt? Isn't that right?
Oh yeah, that Mario Brothers movie. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I was thinking of the one with Bob Hoskins and fucking John Leguizamo and yeah.
Oh my God, yeah,
that was what I was.
That one was old.
How could we think of a different one? What's wrong with you? Chris Pratt.
I literally haven't even thought about that movie in probably like years.
That's probably for the best. I mean, it's that Mortal Kombat, just on the topic of like, video games to movies, like that most recent Mortal Kombat movie was fun. Like
I actually really enjoyed it. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, same. It was like, I felt like I was playing Mortal Kombat, and I was much happier with it than, the original movie that was not wonderful. I mean, it was wonderful at the time. I loved it. I loved the original Mortal Kombat movie, but, that was a long time ago. I haven't seen it. I've got some rose-colored glasses on about it, I'm sure. So
yeah.
Awesome. Well, I mean, it's a real, it doesn't seem like there's a tremendous amount of gamers sort of in the music space. It's just a thing that a lot of people don't seem to have a lot of time for, or make time for, I guess I should say. That's not really a condemnation of how people spend their time. It's fine. But yeah, it's cool. What else do you have going on? Like, is there any music that you've been into lately that you've been like really jazzed to hear?
New music. I'm a big fan of. Oh well, there's only 3 songs out so far, but the band Periphery. I'm a big fan of those guys. Gotcha. Also, this band called The Beast in Black. They're also great. I've been really digging their stuff too. But besides that, I mean, if I'm not listening to like metal or just anything really, I listen to a lot of score music, like Hans Zimmer or stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, sure. That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just like after making your own music where it's heavy and upbeat, at the end of the day, you're just like, dude, I don't want to hear anything heavy. Like, I hear the complete opposite. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean,
yeah,
I love, pretty loud, abrasive music most of the time. But, I hit my point where I'm like, it's chill time. Like, we're all done with this. No, I absolutely get that. Have you seen that Netflix show, Copenhagen Cowboy? Speaking of soundtracks,
I have not.
So it's from the director who did Drive, but I've been banging on the show about it to like anybody who comes on. It's a really good show. It's very slow burn, artistic, sort of a really great camera angles, really wonderful series to watch, but it's also like accompanied by this really terrific soundtrack. So that seems like a thing that might be up your alley. That seems like a Tony Kim kind of like sit and watch this kind of a thing, maybe. So so
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
for sure, man. It's pretty cool. What's the next game that you're like excited about? I mean, for me personally, and also as one of those PC guys who like has like handed out my fair share of like bullshit to people for playing on consoles. I'm sorry for everybody. Like it's but everybody, I feel like most gamers like have their eye on like the next thing they're like fucking jazzed about. Like what's the next game that you're just like, oh fuck yeah.
Yeah, I already have it pre-ordered. So it's the remake of Resident Evil 4, which was my favorite Resident Evil series out of all. The 4 was the best, and it's coming out, I think, in like a few weeks.
Okay, awesome.
So yeah, I'm just super pumped on that. And yeah, I mean, I have been playing so many games. Like I said that probably about God of War, the second one when it came out. Like, oh, this is the one.
Right.
And then like a month later, there's like another huge game coming in. Like, no, that's the one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just enjoying all the games because just with how graphics have improved.
Mm-hmm.
You think back like I even just watched like the comparison of Dead Space from the original to the remake, and it's like holy shit, like
Yeah.
how far we've come.
Yeah. I saw that too, and I was like, holy shit. Because in my mind, like the original always looks like what the remaster does. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and then like even like I mean, I know some people are gonna choose graphics over performance or vice versa. I choose performance, obviously, because if your fucking movement is super glitchy, that's gonna just drive anyone crazy, obviously. But
Yeah.
so you for consoles, you lose a bit of quality to go for performance. But I know I have a lot of friends who play on PC, and they're always giving me shit like, oh well, that's not an issue if you're playing it on PC, dude.
Yeah. But I mean,
But
not everybody wants to spend a few grand to build a fucking PC, a gaming PC. Like, it's expensive. Like, that's the
yeah,
thing that
I know.
like, PC gaming dudes have to keep in mind is that it's like a console is just like, I mean, like a TV is expensive, sure, like a good one, but it's like once you have a TV, like you can watch fucking movies on it, all kinds of shit. Like a PC is like getting married. It's like it's a lot. Like it's
Yeah, I mean, like I said, these guys that I'm friends with, they're constantly like, "Oh, I have to swap out this because it's outdated now, and this and this." And it's like, dude, that's crazy. But I love that you guys can actually customize and modify as you need. As like with Justin and I, all the recording computers are Apple. You get what you think is beefed up. That's what you get. You can't upgrade it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they stopped doing that.
Right.
So,
and you're paying a premium for the parts you have.
Yeah, I mean, I just got not that long ago like the Mac Studio, which is like the two Mac Minis like stacked together. It looks like. So I just got it like where it should last me for the next like 10, 15 years. I'm like, dude, like for just making music, like this thing is literally beefed up. So, hopefully it'll maintain. But that's the one thing I love. The freedom of the PC guys. They're like, well, I can make it better by just swapping out this and replacing it with this or whatever, As we're stuck with what we get.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite aspects of it too. Is just like the candy land of aftermarket parts. Like, oh, I need a new graphics card. So what flavor am I going to pick? What individual retailer? Well, this one's got good customer service or whatever. Like, having the option for like what parts you put into it is like the thing I like the most about it, I think.
Yeah
for sure. I mean it's like it's my answer to like being a car guy, because that's not 100% not who I ever was. So it was like PC gaming is where I like geek out about shit. For sure. Well, but yeah, on aside from the PC gaming thing, like, so the game that I've got like my eyes on that I'm like fucking jazzed about. I mean, in my teenage years, I played way too much Command and Conquer and way too much Diablo, so I'm like really jazzed about Diablo 4 coming out in June. I I want to pee every time I think about it. Like I'm so excited to fucking play it. Like, so that's what I got my heart set on next is Diablo.
Yeah, I want to say I have a bunch of friends that were playing Diablo 2 and Diablo 1 and 2 back in the day.
Yeah.
But I never actually had like a dedicated computer growing up for gaming, as I just had like PS2 or Xbox or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So obviously I wasn't able to play those games, but I did not briefly, play maybe for like a day or two. I tried right when like World of Warcraft got big.
Yeah.
I'm talking like, I don't know, what is this, like 2006-ish, 2007, that around then. I tried it for like a day or two, and I guess I didn't give it enough, I didn't put enough time to give it a chance. But like first thing coming from a console was the movement on the keyboard. That threw me off. So like the left hand was your movement, and your right was whatever weapons and all that attack.
Looking around,
Yeah, so that completely threw me off. I was like, dude, like this is not for me. So unfortunately, even though I love RPGs and stuff like that, like I just couldn't get into the keyboard and mouse thing. So
yeah.
No,
that makes sense. I mean, it can be a hard sell. Plus, like after like the thing that is nice about consoles is like you can put your fucking feet up and sit on your couch and shit. Like that's the thing that I'm pretty excited about for Diablo is that like, yeah, you can play it mouse and keyboard, but like you can also just like go play it in a different room on your console and like put your fucking feet up or plug your controller in, you know, like that's huge.
Yeah.
Like options are big on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, like I said, I don't want to keep you too long, and I'm glad we finally made this work. It's been, I asked you forever ago, and shit just got crazy for both of us. But yeah, man, thanks so much for your time for coming on the show. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was such a pleasure to talk to you, and I will make every effort to catch you guys on this next tour. And I'll let you know when this episode comes out. But yeah, thanks so much, man. Have a great rest of your evening. And yeah, I'll talk to you again soon.
Awesome, man. You too.
Thanks. Take care.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this episode of Void Signal, please consider visiting voidsignal.net and leaving a tip for your friendly, charismatic host. Even just $1 goes a long way to helping me continue to do this thing. Thanks so much for your consideration, and take care.